my name's The Nightbus, and today I'm doing a makeup tutorial where we're going to be transforming Jonathan. So we're going to first go in with a bit of primer. So I use a silicone primer. It's really, really good for preparing your skin. Make sure that everything sticks to it. Before you put this on, you want to make sure you've got a really clean face. So I'm just going to put it on the back of my hand, and I'm going to go and put it on with an actual brush. There's some there. So just to let you know, this is Jonathan's first time being put up in drags, which I'm sure he's really looking forward to. Yeah, you just want to basically put it anywhere that you think you're going to be putting foundation. So I wouldn't put it where your natural eyebrows are, just because then it can stop the glue from like sticking. But anywhere else is fine. Get it all done. Make sure you do the neck as well. One of the reasons that I got Jonathan to do it is because I wanted to do a full drag face, and if I'd done it on myself, well, as you can see, it wouldn't have been a full drag face. Like there, how's that feel?
Feels great.
Does it?
Very silky.
Very silky, very smooth. Okay, so then next up is covering the eyebrows. Now there's loads of ways on the internet you can do this. So if you watch any tutorials on YouTube or anything like that, you'll see that they use like glue sticks and things like that. I am a big sweaty mess when I've been performing, so I like to use medical adhesive. This is Prosade Green. It's used for attaching things to the body, and they stay there for hours and hours and hours on end. And it's really easy to remove afterwards. You just need a little bit of oil or a bit of like cream, and you just rub it in and it naturally comes away. But if you're sweating, it doesn't come off, so it's amazing. So we're going to use this to hide Jonathan's eyebrows, which are dainty as they are, so it might be a really easy job. Like rubbing right onto the hair like that, and you're going back and forth, because you want to cover every single little hair in the adhesive. On the actual brush itself, there's not loads of glue, because you don't want to put too much on, you just want to have enough on, and you can always add some more if you think you need to. And you'll feel it like change a little bit as you're doing that. You'll feel that it goes a bit more tacky as you're rubbing it in. Now I'm going to try my hardest to get it as smooth as possible. We're pulling it up as much as possible like this. You just want to make sure that all the hair is kind of going in one direction. So with this, we're pulling it up and away. Okay, and then the other thing I like to do is just dip my finger in, not like my index finger, but like my ring finger or my middle finger, and then I just kind of go over it again, just like swiping it on. So put a little bit on each side there, and you just kind of rub it like this, so it again adds to like flattening down everything there. Are you ready? Okay, so I have a beard. If you don't have a beard and you want to really cover up like any growth, say if you do grow beard or facial hair and you're shaving it off and you want to do drag, sometimes it can come through in the foundation. And one of the ways to like combat that is using the opposite colour on the colour wheel. So if you think of like Richard of York gave Battle in Vain, the opposite colour to the blue that's created from hair on your beard is like orange and reds. So on Jonathan, because he's got a little bit of like a 5 o'clock shadow, I'm going to go through with just a little bit of lipstick. This is Charlotte Tilbury, which is really expensive, but I'm going to use it anyway because you're worth it.
Thank you.
You're completely worth it.
Thank you.
So just literally dotting it on where you see any of the red, oh sorry, the blue or the beard or anything like that. So there's some up here as well. There's not loads, but it looks a bit strange when you're doing it. Put some there as well, and some in the middle. And when I first started drag, this is actually how I used to put lipstick on. And then we're just gonna sort of blend that out a little bit with a beauty sponge. Got one here. Always dampen them, just run it under a tap, like under some warm water, squeeze it out a bit, and once it's expanded, then just drain it as much as you can of all the water that's in there, and then you can use it for blending out things like this or foundation. So we're just like literally dabbing it in. It doesn't look like it's doing much, but it just adds that like extra protection from what you might have underneath. So next up, you want to set that One of the best ways of doing that is like using a transparent powder or a no colour powder. So there's a company called RCMA, which is the Research Council of Makeup Artists, and they do like a really, really good no colour powder. It's super cheap and you get loads of it. Like look at the size of this. So I just like tap it out on the table, I get like a powder puff and I just go in there, pick it up, and then wherever that red was, I'm just literally like, and this part doesn't really matter if it looks even or not, because you're going to put foundation on top anyway. And then after that, you just want to check if the eyebrows have gone tacky enough. So they have. They've gone dry a little bit, but they're still a little bit tacky. Whilst they're tacky, you just want to get some more powder, get the big powder puff, and then just like press it into those eyebrows as much as possible. And really, again, squeeze it on. Sorry, I'm not hurting you.
No, you're fine.
And then just grab a big fluffy brush, just take all that excess off. Super simple, super easy. Now, yeah, you can still see the brows. We're going to cover them up again with that lipstick so you can like really get them hidden. So let's see if this works. So a bit of the red will cancel out the blue that you can see in the hair of the brows. Grab the beauty blender again, just like dab it out. It does look a bit weird before you put the powder on and then put the foundation on, but it's supposed to do that because it's just two colours melding together. When I first started out, which was, God, 2006 now was the first time I first did drag. It was more like drag creature stuff. It wasn't really drag queen. And that's what I really like about drag. It's basically just like creating whatever sort of persona or character or image you want to, and playing with like the idea of being someone else, which in itself, like when you become someone else, you're kind of like channeling a completely new version of yourself, and that's being created by what you already know, but it's kind of limitless as well. So it's not like you're just stuck thinking about, okay, well this is how I am every single day. With drag you can be whoever you want, and that's really exciting. Okay, so next up it is foundation time. So I use a foundation from a company called Kryolan. So Kryolan is a theatre makeup company. They have been going for years and years. They are the drag 101 of foundations. They usually do these like sticks, which are like foundation sticks. They're really thick and greasy and they cover up everything. And then a few years ago they released this one, Vitacolor. Hashtag sponsor me, please. And this one's basically the same thing, but it's in liquid form, so it's just as full coverage, but it's like a bit easier to work with. This is my shade, so I'm gonna dilute it down a little bit with a Revolution foundation because we're not the same shade, and it'll just mean it'll cover up Jonathan probably closer to matching. And the way that I'm gonna do that is just mix it on the back of my hand. So just like this. And that's just to sort of start it off for now. I might need a bit more than that. So I'm taking the other one now, which is the one that I use. It's a bit deeper, but hopefully if we mix these together on Jonathan's face, then it will actually give the colour. Well, that's not actually a far match from what you are. And some on the brows there. And then what I want to do is just blend all of this together. So I'm gonna use a beauty sponge again for that. Okay, I'm grabbing another beauty sponge. This is clean rather than the one that I used before. I'm just going to dab everything out like this and blend and blend and blend and blend and blend until it just kind of covers up what's underneath. And you can see as you're doing it that everything's actually starting to come together and change into one colour, which is exactly what we want. We want to just cover up all of that boy. So we've got a blank canvas to start with, and start painting on top and creating whatever we're going to create. How are you feeling?
Feeling good. It smells nice.
Does it?
It does.
That's me. Okay, and then what we'll need to do is create a highlight and contour. So a highlight is basically where you put lighter colour foundation, so it looks like there's more light hitting it. That's what the purpose of it is. Every time you watch these tutorials, there's always the same thing. They put it here, on the chin, down the nose. You can put it whatever you want because it completely depends on what you want to make. If you want to make some sort of creature that isn't even like a queen or a king, you might want to put it in different places. Like for drag kings, for example, they put 2 lines that go along on either side of their temples. And with that, it makes their foreheads look broader. So then it adds like to the masculine features of their face. So you can put it wherever you want. For drag queens, you would usually put it in the places that are most prominent. So that would be in the middle. But yeah, play around with it. There are no rules to any of this, no matter what the TV and YouTube tells you. Put some underneath there. And then some on the chin as well, because those are the areas that I want to highlight. And just a little bit down the bridge of the nose as well. Blend that in as much as possible so that you can see that it's created a bit more light. Jonathan, if you look up and keep looking up while I do this. So all I'm doing is like just tapping this underneath, and as you can see again, it's creating a bit more light under his eyes. Next, we're gonna do the contour part. So I've got like a little flat brush like this because I really like the shapes of them. And I've just bought like some cream foundation, like concealer sort of stuff. It's like a grease paint. This is also from Cryolan. These are super cheap. So if you are starting out or you want to just be playing with stuff but you don't want to spend too much money, on like £10 on a foundation, you can order Cryolan stuff online, or they sell it in Manchester as well, at a couple of stores as well. You go in and you can get the refills, which are like £2 or £3, and you've just got enough there to maybe get in drag like 10 times, and it's the best way to start out. If you just want to play with things and find out what your shades are, this is the thing I recommend doing, rather than going out and buying like all of that makeup that you could buy. Just buy some small pots and play with them. So with the contour, you're basically putting darker shadows where you want it to look like there's less light, so you can carve out a face. And you will have seen this done before. It can like be used to feminize faces, and again for drag kings it can be used to masculinize them. So like when you see like a really beefy man, on their cheekbones they might have like a line here which indicates where their cheekbone is. So a drag king might want to hollow that out a bit more, so they might put a contour underneath there so it looks even deeper. Kind of a bit like a skeleton actually. It's all the problems with the men, innit? Right, so I'm going to put some here. Some more, so just like a little bit along here. So what if I put it in the corners here, there's going to be a wig on anyway. But it just means that it's bringing in, the size of the forehead, which is not huge. It's just that if you make it look smaller, then it kind of looks a bit more feminine, which is the whole point of drag. Is like you're playing with the idea of what it means to be feminine and masculine. You can do whatever you want with it, and it's just paint. People getting upset about a bit of paint or a bit of makeup, it's like it's just literally oil in a tube. So Jonathan's got really nice cheekbones anyway. So we're just basically accentuating those. We don't even need to like create a new one because they're already there pretty much. But what I will do is just bring in the size a bit more to make his face look a bit smaller and petite. And then one thing I never do is contour my jawline because you wouldn't see it. So bear with me, I'm going to try this. Just want to turn a little bit more towards that side. And then where the jawline is, you're just basically like creating a little line to almost give the illusion that that's where the jawline starts. Doing it again on this side. And then if you just face me. So Jonathan's got like quite a square jaw, like a square chin. I've got like quite a heart-shaped one. It goes down into a point. And like generally, if you've got a square one, you might want to just like narrow it down so it does look a bit more heart-shaped. There we go. So just a little bit on either side of there. And this will all get blended out, so don't worry about it. And then the last bit is just to create a new sort of nose. So this is very rough because we're going to go over it anyway. But I'm just basically creating a bit of a line on either side where the new nose would be. And again, it's that same idea if you're just creating new shadows where you'd want them to be. So now we're just going to go in with the beauty sponge and just blend it all out again. So where you can see the contour, all I want to do, I'm using a different part of it now, it's a flat bit. And I'm just going to blend out all the place where I put the contour. So Okay, so just blending. Now the thing is, there is no reason or no need when you're doing drag to be trying to aim for perfection. You should be doing whatever feels good. So if I look back at some of the photos of me when the first time I did drag, I literally look at them, the ones from 10 years ago where I started like hiding my brows and buying wigs, and I genuinely still think I look like the most beautiful person in the world. I looked a bit like something you'd serve to a dog for dinner. But part of doing all of this is you're just doing whatever feels good. You're just doing things that you're playing with because it's part of fantasy. You're just literally playing. So all of this isn't going to be perfect because we're under time constraints, but by the magic of editing, it will look like it's only taken a short amount of time. But if I had more time, yeah, I could perfect all of this on Jonathan's face, but that's not the point. The point is we're just having fun, and you should have fun with it too. Everything is pretty much made of water or oil in the makeup world. If it's water-based, it will sweat off, so you don't really want to be using water-based stuff for drag. But if you use oil-based stuff, you can set it with a powder, and what that does is it absorbs the oil that's in there and stops it from moving, and that's why we powder our faces, to sort of set it all. And definitely don't use talcum powder for this. I see a lot of people saying that they use talcum powder. It's not a good idea, it's not good for you. But this powder is the same one that I used before, it's the RCMA one. From like Boots and stuff, you can get this stuff called Coty powder, it's like air spun, and that's super cheap. So I'd recommend getting that. It's like £3 or £4, and it lasts forever, and it pretty much does the same thing. Okay, so just dusting all of this off, and as you can see, it has set everything underneath. Oh yeah, so now we're going to go in and draw on some eyebrows. I use eyeliner gel, and this one's just a brown one, so it's really good for like making it look like your brows. So I'm going to grab an angled brush, just like this, and just draw on a bit of eyebrow. When you're drawing on the eyebrow, you can put it wherever you want. I just usually start it where the original eyebrow was, and just go up, and then create a bit of an arch. It looks a really weird colour on me. Okay, so I've drawn on like random sketches of brows. I usually do it on myself, so they look a bit better than that. But the only great thing about doing makeup is that you can just correct it with more makeup, so that's what I'm going to do. So I'm just going to go over and like pat this on to set them. So set down the brows, and then dust them off, and then what we're going to do is just carve them so they're like really precise. Take some clown white, and just basically carve out what's already there. So even though it looks a bit messy at the moment, it's not even all the way around. You just basically go around the edges and do it with a white so that it's then precise. So as you can see, like I've just literally gone around the outside of it with this white, and then with the white you're just going to blend that out because it will make it pop even more anyway. This way. And yeah, we're blending it out, but it doesn't matter that it's all white because we're going to put powder on it top of it anyway, so it will look more natural. It's just at the moment we want to make sure that the brows are like as perfect as they can be. Now at the moment it kind of just looks really sort of pale because of all the powder that's on there, the clown white. We're going to correct all of that by putting powder on top of it, so don't worry too much. It just kind of all comes together as you add to it. Okay, right, so now for the eyes, I'm going to go in with another brush even, with the clown white and put that all over the eyelid. So it acts as something for the eyeshadow to stick with, so just close your eye and then brush this on. This is the easiest sort of primer you can use for your eyes. You can buy so many different primers, I've got all of them, they're all great, but you can't really beat a bod standard just a bit of clown white because it just adheres and it creates like that blank canvas to stick all the things on. So that's why I like using it. You really want to bring it as far as you can down to the lash line. And then if you just turn this side. Now, loads of people don't like shimmer powders. When I first started doing drag, people were like, why are you wearing a shimmer powder? You should be using matte eyeshadows. Like I said, there's no rules. Do what the hell you want. The exciting part of drag is that you can do whatever you want to do. I hope you're all getting really excited and getting lots of ideas of what you'd be doing on your face if you had all the makeup. So just going under Jonathan's new eyebrows with a bit of shimmer. The other good thing about the shimmer is the first few times that you do drag, and as you'll see here, you can still sort of see Jonathan's eyebrows a little bit. If you put a shimmer on there, because it's playing with light and reflecting back at the light that's hitting your face, it doesn't make the eyebrows show up underneath the makeup as much. So it's a really good way of like combating the fact that it might not be the best first time you've done it. And now I'm gonna do pink, a bit of a blue eye. So this you can use any eyeshadow for. So I've got one from Revolution here, which is really nice. I will show you the mirror because that would look really weird. But this is a Revolution one. It's got some nice blues in there. And then I've also got this one that I bought from Sleek Makeup years ago. But I still really like it because it's really pigmented. What I'm going to do here is basically carve out a new eyebrow. Sorry, a new eye crease where the eyelid is. Which will be a bit higher than where Jonathan's natural eyelid crease is. So, now you can't look in the mirror. So let's just put it there. That seems like a nice place. Now you can draw this on with a pencil. I'm taking it out. So once you've got a bit on there, then grab I use microfiber cloth because it's really good at getting rid of the excess on the brush. Just wipe it off like that. And then use the same brush to blend it out a little bit. So we're just blending. I'm going to pour it down into the corner of Jonathan's eye. There's some on the lid, but we're going to cover that up anyway. And all we want to do is just create a bit of a gradient between where the shimmer was before and the blue eyeshadow is. There we go. And because we put that clown white down first, the blue's really popping, so you can really see it. And then using a smaller brush, I'm going to go along where the line is that I want to start the eyelid crease and put some black in there. And then we're going to cover the actual eyelid with some more white and then put some glitter on it. So get some black eyeshadow as well, and just go along the same part. You don't have to go all the way along it. You can just go to like the outer corner and the inner corner. And again, don't worry about like any mess on the actual eyelid because we're going to tidy that up anyway. So a bit of black. And just turn this way. So with that same brush, take the excess off and then blend. So that black mixes into the blue, which in turn mixes into the shimmer. So this is just to create a bit of a shadow. It's not actually like the colour of the makeup that we're trying to highlight. It's just kind of putting some colour on there and blending it and playing with it. So I'm just blending that black so it doesn't look as deep black, but it creates a shadow. Now, I would recommend taking your time. That's something that I haven't got on my side. I'd be here for hours if it was me. But you just kind of go with what time you've got. Have fun with it. Just literally put glitter on it now. And once the glitter's on there, we'll put some eyeliner on there, and then we'll do the bottom lash. So for the glitter, we are going to go in with this glitter glitter primer. And this is just a really good way of getting glitter to stick to things like eyelids. You can use it on your cheeks as well for festivals or like once COVID is over, if we have Pride again, you want to put some glitter on anywhere, you can use that. And it just sticks and holds it really nicely, but it's not too harsh on the skin. Just like smoothing it onto where I want to place the glitter. Pick up some with the same brush that you had the primer on, and then you're just pressing it on top of that primer so it sticks nicely. And I really like this one because it creates so many nice colours. And then again, just putting glitter on top. There we go. And now, because it's like not very defined between where the glitter is and the eyeshadow is, I'm going to go back in with some more black just to define it a bit more, using the same brush I used before. Blend, blend, blend. So then we're going to do the eyeliner and then do the lower lash line as well. So for the eyeliner, I'm going to use an eyeliner pen because it's really easy to do. And you're basically just creating a bit of a cat wing. So just like create a bit of a wing like that. Doesn't have to be like really precise because remember we're going to put lashes on top of this as well. So even if it's not completely connected up, you'll have something covering it up a little bit as well. Now, means that on the lower lash line I can just get a bit of blue on there, and that'll complement the blue that's at the top. I'm going to use this palette this time because it's got a nice blue in there that'll match it. There's a blue there, lovely. Put a bit of that in there. I'm going to blend this in as much as possible on the lower lash line. So now you can use primer and put a bit on that on the bottom lash line as well. I'm not going to do it because Jonathan's eyes, he's not used to having makeup on, so I don't want to put too much in the middle of it or on like too close to the eyes. Okay, so that's kind of it for the eyes. Now I'm just going to finish off the rest of the face and do the lips. So with the rest of the face we're going to put some powders on so it kind of like defines everything up. The last tip that you have for, or the last step in doing makeup is the lashes, and that's what adds and elevates everything that's in there, so it's kind of amazing. Because I've just got like a big wide feather brush like this. This is really good for doing like powder contour underneath, along the same places where we put the brown earlier. So do you remember I said like at the top, don't worry about the fact that there's that harsh line there, we're going to tidy it up with powder. That's what we're going to do now. And also remember that this is all going to be covered with a wig, so it doesn't really matter that it's not perfect underneath, because this isn't for TV, this is just for fun, and that's what you should be doing with drag. You should be having fun with it. And then again here, so just adding a bit more brown so it adds that contour that we created before. And just turn that way. And then look up, all the way up. So again, where I put like the contour on the chin, I'm just going to add some powder on top of that so it like blends that out. And then yeah, where I try to make the chin look a bit more pointed, we just want to add a bit on either side there so it can add to that as well. And for where the white powder is in the middle, we're just going to put some powder foundation on top of that to hide that a little bit. So with that, let's grab another sort of fluffy brush. This is just like a powder foundation, this is a L'Oreal one. And just go over that harsh white line so it kind of disappears a little bit. It won't completely disappear, but remember there'll be a wig on distracting people from the fact that it's not completely perfect. And if you really mess it up, just throw glitter on it, which is what I might potentially do after I've done all of this. And again, a little bit for the middle of the nose, and then just some here for where the chin is, just to really highlight it as well. And then for the nose, you just want to add a bit more contour there. So you've got a bit of a fluffy brush. That same contour powder I was using before, which is just dark brown. And then just very gently go along the sides of the nose to etch out a new one. Okay. So now just as some finishing touches, first thing I'm going to do is to set it all. So I'm just going to use some setting spray. This is an Urban Decay one. It's a really good one. So first of all, this just makes sure that everything melds together. There's a lot of powder on there at the moment. You just kind of want it to all blend and mix with each other so it doesn't disappear. And then on top of that, we're going to just do some finishing touches like the lips. Oh, sorry, I forgot to tell you I was going to do that. Bit of the blush. So blush is like a really nice thing to add just to make sure that your face got a bit more colour to it. When you put all of these skin tone foundations on and stuff, it doesn't really look that natural. You're not going for natural if you're doing this, but a bit of blush can just make it look a bit different from being a bit flat and foundation shades over and over again. So I like to put a little bit on like that. A bit on the nose. The lips, I've just got a liquid lipstick. It dries matte. The really good thing about matte lipsticks is that they first of all don't move, which is great because you can just wear them and not have to top them up loads and loads through the night. And you can add a bit of gloss to them on top of them, so like you can put layers on there and that's really cool. So if you can just smile like the Joker and open your mouth a little bit. Wider. And that's a very red lip. You can also get really precise with liquid lipsticks, and I mean, although it would be nice to use a lip liner, I don't, so and just let that dry. You don't need to rub them together or anything, it will just dry naturally. Okay, so because that looks quite bright on Jonathan's skin tone, because on me it just obviously looks flawless, I'm going to just make it a bit darker on the outside so it looks a bit more dimensional. So I've just taken some like darker liquid lipstick on the back of my hand. I've just put it on a brush and I'm just going to try and darken these edges a little bit so they're a bit more defined. Okay, so now I'm going to stick the wig on, put on the lashes, and then we'll be done.
Just a casual Tuesday afternoon.
Right. Close your eyes, and when I put this on, don't blink. Just keep your eye closed now. Just open the eyes again. Right, just keep them sort of semi-open. Open again. We've got a mirror. So, do you want to see yourself?
Yes. Oh my god. Wow. It looks really good. You've done a great job. Wow.
Thanks for tuning in, guys and girls and everyone out there. We will be back with Youth Pride MCR on the 30th to do a live tutorial. I'm going to be taking some of your questions and I'll actually be in drag for that as well. And I'll be talking about some of my favourite products that I use and like little secrets that I use on my own face. So thank you to Jonathan, thank you to everyone at Youth Pride MCR, and have a great Pride 2020. Bye!